SpaceX faces setback as Starship V3 booster falters in testing. The relentless pace of innovation at SpaceX hit a significant stumbling block this week in South Texas, serving as a stark reminder of the volatility inherent in pioneering aerospace engineering. During what was intended to be a routine ground pressure test, the prototype for the Super Heavy V3 booster, the next-generation powerhouse designed to propel the massive Starship system, suffered a catastrophic structural failure. The incident, which occurred at the company's Starbase facility, was triggered by a malfunction in the gas system, leading to an explosive rupture that severely damaged the booster's tank section. While fortunately no injuries were reported, the failure represents a critical interruption in the development timeline for the V3, a vehicle that Elon Musk has touted as essential for achieving the payload capacities necessary for future Mars colonization efforts. This mishap underscores the high-stakes nature of SpaceX's test, fly, fail, fix philosophy. While it accelerates learning, it also invites spectacular failures that can delay certification and operational deployment. Engineering teams are now tasked with a forensic analysis of the gas system's collapse to ensure this specific vulnerability is engineered out of future iterations before flight testing can resume. Blue Origin escalates the orbital arms race with a behemoth rocket. Just as its primary rival grapples with hardware failures, Blue Origin has seized the narrative momentum by unveiling an ambitious expansion of its own launch capabilities. In a direct challenge to SpaceX's dominance in the heavy lift sector, Jeff Bezos' aerospace company announced the development of an upscaled variant of its New Glenn rocket, tentatively designated as the New Glenn 9x4. This new configuration is not merely an iterative update, but a substantial redesign aimed at capturing the lucrative market for deep space logistics and heavy orbital infrastructure. By increasing the vehicle's dimensions and thrust capacity, Blue Origin is positioning this new variant to compete directly with the payload specifications of the Starship system. The timing of this announcement is particularly strategic, landing right as the industry questions the reliability of current heavy-lift timelines. This move signals a maturing commercial space sector where monopoly is increasingly threatened by well-funded competitors willing to bet billions on the belief that the future economy lies in orbit, and that the capacity to haul massive tonnage to space will be the defining metric of success in the coming decade. Zurich's Flexion secures capital to engineer the minds of humanoid robots. The intersection of artificial intelligence and physical robotics received a massive vote of confidence this week as Zurich-based startup Flexion successfully closed a €50 million Series A funding round. This significant injection of capital highlights a shift in investor focus from purely digital generative AI models to embodied AI. Systems that can interact with and manipulate the physical world. Flexion is not building the metal bodies of robots, but rather the cognitive architecture, or brains, that will allow humanoid machines to perform complex, undefined tasks in dynamic environments. The funding will be utilized to scale their research and development teams and accelerate the deployment of their proprietary operating system, which promises to solve one of the most persistent bottlenecks in robotics: the inability of machines to generalize learning across different tasks. By focusing on the software layer that translates intent into physical action, Flexion is positioning itself as a critical infrastructure provider for the burgeoning humanoid robot market, betting that the hardware will eventually become commoditized while the intelligence driving it remains the true differentiator. Google fights for the integrity of its ad empire in final antitrust arguments. The legal battle that could fundamentally reshape the architecture of the digital economy reached its crescendo this week in a federal courtroom in Virginia. Google and the U.S. Department of Justice presented their closing arguments in the high-stakes antitrust trial targeting the tech giant's ad tech business. The government's case rests on the assertion that Google has illegally monopolized the ad tech stack, the complex chain of software used to buy and sell online display ads, thereby harming publishers and inflating costs for advertisers. The DOJ is seeking a remedy that would force Google to divest key parts of this business, effectively breaking up the company. Google's defense team, however, argued vehemently that the digital advertising market is robustly competitive, citing the rise of rivals like Amazon and TikTok, and warned that a forced breakup would degrade the efficiency of the web for millions of small businesses. The judge's skepticism regarding a forced sale was palpable, suggesting that while Google may face penalties or conduct remedies, a complete dismantling of its ad business remains an uncertain outcome. The verdict, expected in the coming months, will determine not just Google's future structure, but the regulatory precedent for all major technology platforms operating in the United States.